You can eat perfectly healthy. You can cook every meal at home. You can cut out sugar, avoid fried foods, and stay far away from fast food. And yet, if this one extremely common condiment is still sitting in your refrigerator, it may be quietly undoing everything you're trying to do for your health without you ever realizing it. Doctors see this pattern over and over again. Patients who genuinely believe they're doing everything right. They follow the rules. They read labels. They try to be careful. But they still struggle with stubborn inflammation, creeping blood pressure, aching joints, digestive discomfort, and that constant, unexplained fatigue that never seems to go away. And when we trace it back, it's rarely the main meals. It's what's added on top. This condiment is so normalized, so familiar, that almost no one questions it. It's poured generously on salads, spread thickly on sandwiches, added to grilled meats, vegetables, and meals that are supposed to be healthy. Many seniors use it every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, believing it's harmless, even helpful. But what most people don't realize is that after age 50, your body processes this condiment very differently. What once seemed benign can now quietly accelerate inflammation, damage delicate blood vessels, disrupt your gut bacteria, and interfere with how your brain, joints, and heart age over time. And in just a moment, I'll show you exactly why health experts now warn seniors to avoid it, and what to use instead to protect your heart, preserve your brain, and support long-term longevity. As we get older, our bodies begin to change in ways that aren't always obvious at first. Nothing dramatic happens overnight. Instead, the systems that once worked effortlessly start to slow down. Foods you tolerated easily in your 30s and 40s don't behave the same way in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Digestion becomes less efficient. The gut lining grows more sensitive. Blood sugar regulation becomes less forgiving. And in inflammation, the silent driver of aging, becomes easier to trigger and much harder to turn off. This is why so many people over 45 feel confused and frustrated. They're eating smaller portions. They're choosing foods labeled healthy. They're cutting back on sugar and avoiding obvious junk. Some even follow their doctor's advice closely, and yet they wake up stiff in the mornings. They feel foggy by early afternoon, and by evening, their energy is completely drained, even though they didn't do anything particularly strenuous. What's often overlooked isn't the big foods. It's not the chicken or the vegetables. It's not the oatmeal or the soup. It's the small, habitual additions. The sauces, the dressings, the condiments you barely think about, but consume consistently, day after day, sometimes for decades. These tiny additions may seem insignificant, but over time, they can have a powerful cumulative effect on an aging body. Today, we're going to focus on one specific condiment that health experts increasingly warn seniors to avoid. Not because it's dramatic, not because it's controversial or trendy, but because both scientific research and real-world clinical experience show that it can quietly sabotage cardiovascular health, disrupt gut balance, worsen joint discomfort, and even accelerate how the brain ages. This conversation isn't about fear. It's not about taking away foods you enjoy or making life feel restricted. It's about awareness, because once you understand what this condiment actually does inside an aging body, how it interacts with inflammation, digestion, and blood vessels, you'll never look at it the same way again. And most importantly, you won't be left guessing. I'll show you exactly what to replace it with. Simple, realistic alternatives that support your health without making you feel deprived, overwhelmed, or confused. Let me tell you about Harold. He's 67 years old, walks every morning, rain or shine, rarely touches dessert, eats plenty of vegetables. He takes his supplements faithfully and even monitors his blood pressure at home. His doctor once told him, "Harold, your diet looks pretty good." But Harold couldn't understand why his blood pressure kept creeping upward, why his knees ached after a short walk, and why he felt bloated and sluggish after meals that should have been healthy. Harold's daily routine seemed exemplary. Breakfast was oatmeal with a handful of berries. Lunch was a turkey sandwich on whole grain bread. Dinner was grilled chicken with steamed vegetables. Nothing about it screamed unhealthy. And yet, something was wrong. The pattern emerges when you look closer. Every sandwich was slathered with mayonnaise. Every salad, no matter how vibrant or nutritious, was drenched in creamy dressing. Even his grilled chicken often had a mayonnaise-based marinade. Every meal had one thing in common: a hidden source of highly processed, inflammatory fat. This is the exact scenario doctors and nutritionists notice over and over again. Seniors who think they're eating clean can unknowingly overload their bodies with inflammatory compounds through a single, seemingly innocent source: commercial mayonnaise and similar creamy condiments. You've probably heard that fats are healthy, and that's true. Some fats are essential for brain function, hormone production, and heart health. But the type of fat, how it's processed, and what it's combined with matters far more than most people realize, especially after midlife. The myth is simple: it's just a little mayo, it's mostly eggs and oil. How bad could it be? But the truth is far more complex and far more concerning. And far more. Most store-bought mayonnaise is made from refined vegetable oils, like soybean oil, canola oil, or blends, which are chemically processed and stripped of nutrients. These oils are highly oxidized and extremely unstable when exposed to heat, light, or simply sitting on your kitchen counter for weeks. By the time they reach your plate, these oils are no longer neutral. They actively trigger inflammation inside aging blood vessels, promote joint discomfort, and can even contribute to oxidative stress in brain tissue. Here's the crucial part: seniors are far more vulnerable to this inflammatory cascade because the body's natural antioxidant defenses decline with age. What a healthy 30-year-old might tolerate without any noticeable symptoms can quietly and cumulatively damage a 60-year-old's cardiovascular system, metabolism, and overall resilience over years or even decades. This is exactly where most people go wrong. They focus on sugar, salt, and calories, the obvious villains, but they completely overlook the hidden inflammatory potential of fats hiding in plain sight. One small habit repeated daily can quietly undermine years of careful nutrition and healthy lifestyle choices. Harold's story is not unusual. It's a warning sign. And in the next section, we're going to uncover the hidden truth behind this condiment, why it's so destructive for seniors, and how it sets the stage for inflammation, digestive stress, and accelerated aging in the body and brain. The real problem with mayonnaise isn't just the fat content. It's the type of fat, how it's processed, and the way it behaves inside your body, especially as we age. Most commercial mayonnaise is made from refined seed oils: soybean, canola, sunflower, or corn oil. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't inherently bad. In small, balanced amounts, your body needs it for cell structure, hormone production, and healthy skin. But modern diets, particularly those loaded with condiments, sauces, and processed foods, deliver omega-6 in overwhelming excess. This imbalance doesn't just sit quietly in your body, it actively pushes the system into a state of chronic inflammation. And inflammation is not limited to stiff joints or occasional aches. It silently damages your arteries, interferes with insulin signaling, and accelerates cognitive decline, all without obvious warning signs. In fact, a large observational study published in a European nutrition journal examined adults over 55 and found a stark difference. Those with the highest intake of refined seed oils had significantly elevated markers of systemic inflammation compared to participants who consumed more stable, protective fats like olive oil or avocado. But the story doesn't end with fats. Commercial mayonnaise also relies on emulsifiers, chemical stabilizers that keep it smooth, creamy, and shelf-stable. These emulsifiers sound harmless, but they can disrupt the delicate ecosystem of bacteria in your gut, which is central not only to digestion, but also to immunity, inflammation control, and even mood regulation. When your gut barrier is weakened, small inflammatory molecules, sometimes called endotoxins, leak into your bloodstream. This phenomenon, commonly referred to as leaky gut, becomes more prevalent as we age and is directly aggravated by processed condiments like mayonnaise. Let me give you a real-life example. Linda is a 62-year-old retired teacher. She prided herself on eating salads every day, thinking she was doing everything right. But she used generous amounts of creamy dressing on every salad. After years of feeling bloated, sluggish, and stiff in her joints, she finally decided to switch to simpler, stable fats like olive oil and mashed avocado. Within just a few weeks, the bloating vanished, her joints felt more comfortable, and her overall energy improved, without any other major changes to her diet. The hidden truth is clear. Mayonnaise isn't neutral. In an aging body, it acts as a pro-inflammatory trigger, especially when consumed daily. It silently works against your cardiovascular system, your digestive health, and even your brain function. Yet, this issue is rarely discussed during routine medical visits. Why? Because mayonnaise doesn't look like junk food. It's marketed as wholesome, familiar, and safe. It hides behind a health halo, convincing many seniors that it's a benign addition to their meals. This is exactly why awareness matters far more than restriction. You don't need to feel guilty or deprived. You just need to understand the mechanism, how it acts inside your aging body. And once you do, the choice becomes obvious. It's no longer a question of if you should avoid it. It's a question of how quickly you want to reclaim control over inflammation, gut health, and long-term vitality. In the next section, we'll cover the solution, the practical, evidence-backed alternatives that can replace this daily inflammatory trigger, helping seniors like Harold and Linda regain energy, protect their hearts, and support their brains. The goal here isn't to strip pleasure from your meals or make every bite a chore. Eating should still feel enjoyable, but after age 45, it's about supporting your body's aging systems instead of unknowingly working against them. One small swap can make a dramatic difference over time. The first powerful replacement is extra virgin olive oil. Unlike refined seed oils, olive oil is naturally rich in monounsaturated fats and polyphenols, compounds that actively reduce inflammation, protect blood vessels, and support both heart and brain health. Use it generously on salads, steamed or roasted vegetables, or even whisk it into a homemade vinaigrette with mustard, lemon, or fresh herbs. Many people make the mistake of heating olive oil aggressively, or buying low-quality, mass-produced brands stripped of their natural antioxidants. For maximum benefit, choose a high-quality, cold-pressed version and add it to dishes after cooking when possible. The second alternative is avocado-based spreads. Real avocado isn't just creamy and delicious. It provides fiber, potassium, and stable fats that help nourish the gut and reduce inflammatory stress. I remember a patient, Robert, 70 years old. He loved sandwiches, but was using mayonnaise every day. We switched his routine. Mashed avocado with a squeeze of lemon replaced the mayonnaise. Within 3 months, Robert noticed that his energy felt steadier throughout the day, and his cholesterol ratios improved. Not dramatically overnight, but meaningfully. Small, consistent changes like this add up over months and years. The third option is homemade yogurt-based dressings. Plain, full-fat yogurt contains beneficial bacteria, naturally supporting digestion, immunity, and even mood. When combined with olive oil, lemon, and fresh herbs, it becomes a creamy, satisfying, and completely gut-friendly alternative to commercial mayonnaise. It's rich in flavor, without triggering the inflammatory cascade we discussed earlier. Timing also matters. These healthier fats are best consumed earlier in the day or around meals that include vegetables and protein, when your digestive system is more active and nutrient absorption is optimized. Eating them late at night when digestion slows can reduce their benefit and even contribute to bloating or discomfort. Finally, remember this key principle. Consistency matters far more than perfection. You don't need to eliminate mayonnaise overnight or never enjoy a creamy dressing again. Replacing even one daily habit, the sandwich spread, the salad dressing, the dip, with a healthier alternative can produce outsized benefits over time. These small, deliberate swaps protect your heart, calm inflammation, support gut health, and give your brain the nutrients it needs to stay sharp well into your later years. Think of it as a simple insurance policy for your aging body. Each healthy fat you choose over a processed, inflammatory one is a deposit in your long-term health bank, one that compounds quietly but powerfully with every meal. And the best part? These swaps don't feel like deprivation. They taste great, keep your meals satisfying, and fit seamlessly into the lifestyle you already enjoy. By the end of the week, your body starts responding differently. Less bloating, more energy, and even subtle improvements in joint comfort and mental clarity. So remember, extra virgin olive oil, avocado-based spreads, and yogurt-based dressings are your allies. Introduce them gradually, use them thoughtfully, and pay attention to how your body responds. Over time, you'll see that one small, simple change can make the difference between meals that maintain inflammation and meals that actively support your aging body. In the next section, we'll look at what to avoid entirely, the three most common mistakes seniors make with fats and condiments, and how these pitfalls silently undermine years of careful nutrition. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage all the progress they've worked so hard to achieve. You might be eating healthy meals, taking supplements, walking daily, and yet still feel bloated, stiff, or fatigued, simply because of a few hidden habits that quietly feed inflammation. First, avoid low-fat or light mayonnaise. On the surface, it sounds like a healthier option, right? Less fat, fewer calories. What could go wrong? But in reality, these versions replace the natural fats with sugar, starches, and a long list of chemical stabilizers. Instead of helping your body, they spike blood sugar, disrupt insulin balance, and add hidden inflammatory stress. In other words, light often ends up being heavier on your body than the full-fat version, just in all the wrong ways. Second, avoid heating mayonnaise or creamy dressings. It might seem harmless to toss a dollop on a hot pan or warm it slightly on your vegetables, but heat triggers oxidation in these already unstable oils. Oxidized fats are highly inflammatory, damaging the delicate linings of blood vessels, stressing your liver, and contributing to joint pain and cellular aging. What started as a small indulgence can quietly become a daily toxin in your system. Third, stop stacking condiments. Many seniors unknowingly create a perfect storm for inflammation by combining mayonnaise with processed meats, refined bread, and sugary sauces. This combination doesn't just taste indulgent, it overwhelms your metabolic system, spikes blood sugar, and floods your body with pro-inflammatory compounds. Even if each individual component seems harmless, together they can undo hours of careful meal preparation. Your body after 50 isn't built to handle this complexity. It thrives on simplicity. Stable fats, fresh whole foods, and balanced meals are far easier for your metabolism, digestion, and inflammation control systems to manage. Here's the key takeaway. Reducing exposure to these inflammatory culprits doesn't mean you have to feel deprived or restricted. It's not about eliminating enjoyment from meals. It's about awareness. Once you see which habits quietly sabotage your health, you can make small, strategic swaps that protect your heart, joints, gut, and brain, all without sacrificing flavor or satisfaction. These three rules: avoid light versions, never heat unstable fats, and stop stacking condiments, form the foundation of protecting your body from silent inflammation that accelerates aging. Follow them consistently, and you'll notice your energy, digestion, and overall vitality improve in ways you might not have thought possible. In the next section, we'll wrap up everything we've discussed, highlight one bonus tip that seniors often overlook, and show you how to integrate these habits seamlessly into your daily life for long-term health and vitality. Let's take a moment to recap the key lesson. Aging well isn't about eating less or depriving yourself of foods you enjoy. It's about eating smarter, making choices that actively support your body instead of silently undermining it. And often, the biggest problems don't come from your main meals, your portions, or even your desserts. They come from the smallest habits repeated day after day, the condiments, dressings, and sauces that you barely think about, but that quietly shape how your body ages. For many seniors, commercial mayonnaise is one of these silent contributors. It sneaks into sandwiches, salads, and snacks, driving inflammation, disrupting your gut, and adding stress to your cardiovascular system, all while hiding behind a seemingly harmless, familiar facade. The good news is that by replacing it with stable, supportive fats, like extra virgin olive oil, avocado-based spreads, or homemade yogurt-based dressings, you give your body a chance to heal. You shift from constantly defending yourself against inflammation to actively supporting your heart, your gut, your joints, and even your brain. One small swap, repeated consistently, compounds over time into meaningful improvements in energy, comfort, and long-term health. Here's a bonus tip that many seniors overlook. If you crave creaminess, you don't need processed fats. Instead, add texture and flavor through herbs, spices, citrus, or a touch of vinegar. These natural ingredients bring the sensory satisfaction your meals crave, without fueling inflammation or oxidative stress. Now, I want to hear from you. Which condiments are hardest for you to give up? Have you noticed changes when you made swaps to healthier alternatives? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else finally understand the hidden triggers sabotaging their health. And here's something to get excited about. In the next video, I'll reveal the breakfast habit that experts say quietly accelerates brain aging after 60, even in people who eat healthy. Understanding it could completely change how you start your day and protect your cognitive function for decades to come. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, because what you learn next isn't just another tip. It's potentially one of the most important changes you can make for your health as you age. Remember, aging well isn't about luck. It's about knowledge, awareness, and the small daily choices that compound into long-term vitality.